think this is everybody here. We got a relatively quick stand up here, but it's all good, important stuff. Going over another step 11. Before we go into that, I did want to just touch base really quick. Sometimes it's easy to lose sight of the overall big goals that we're doing here, and sometimes it's helpful to remember that so we know kind of what we're working towards. We talk about process a lot. And usually we're talking about process within the context of an individual detail or multiple details. You need to follow a process so that that detail comes out good. And you need to follow a process so that consistently the details come out good. So you follow the same process on every call. But just to zoom out a little bit too, one of the reasons why we harp on all following the same process too is to help create an environment where it's a little easier to train people. That's one of the biggest things. We want to create an environment that helps foster a lot better training so that people can get up to speed a lot quicker. And what I mean by that is when a new person comes in here and we're teaching them to the book how to do a manual right now, most of the time, if they look at somebody else doing a detail, it's going to be something that's not in quite the right order, not quite the right, to the manual there. So there's slight variations everywhere. When they're looking around at everybody else doing it while they're trying to learn it, there's a lot of varying information coming in. And so it's already hard to learn our 34 step, and then you break that down to 300 plus steps of detail process, and now you've got to add on one A, B, C, and D that you're seeing other people do, rolling their wheels after clay or whatever small choices that we make that, again, individually don't make a big difference, but it's about the shop as a whole. Create an environment where it's much easier to train. The reason that that's important is because it takes stress off of the trainers and it takes stress off of the management. And what that means is they have a lot more time to be doing other things that are, I don't want to say more productive, because training is very important, but have other time to do other productive things that can help. Updates on the shop, updates on labeling, product changes, product R&D, making things more accurate, in payroll and stuff like that. And that's the direction that we're headed, and that's why we are trying to get everybody to, let's get it all on the same page here, so we're all doing it the same way, so that when a trainee comes in and we're telling them, do A, B, C, all the way to Z, and then we walk away and let them try to figure it out a little bit, when they look at other people, they know exactly what they should be doing. It's like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. He said that, I gotta do it that way. It refreshes that memory like that. So that's one of the main reasons why we all want to follow the same process. Then the other reason that's a little bit smaller, but it doesn't affect you more immediately, is people being able to jump in on your detail and help you without you having to micromanage them and point them to, okay, now do this, now do that, now do that. If everybody's following the same process, everybody's doing the same order, it flows really quickly when somebody needs to help you out, or when you're sick or whatever and can't come in. Now somebody can jump in, take your detail over real easy, not have to worry about missing things or lowering quality because we have multiple people on the detail. So I just wanted to zoom out a little bit, talk about why we harp so much on everybody following the same process as much as possible. Of course, we're all human, but that is the goal, and that's one of the main reasons that we want to do that. Reducing stress. I think I touched on everything. Yeah, that's all I had written down for that. So with that being said, we'll go into step 11, which, as we'll see, is very order and with technique, but very order heavy in terms of getting done efficiently. And it's a confusing one to teach people, especially again if they're watching everybody else kind of do it slightly different. But doing it this way is the most efficient way you can get through this whole step going around the car once. We'll talk a lot about that when we get into it though.
Good, all thank you. Today we are on step 11. Pressure wash grill, then wheels while rinsing the body. The goals in this are to remove the dirt film from the difficult hand wash areas of the front end, like the intricate parts and such. Re-clean the wheels, tires, and wheel wells after they've had acidic pre-soak applied to them. Apply all soap remove all soap and all dirt suspended in the soap from the exterior of the vehicle. So it's a pretty simple, quick one in a way. Why rinsing well matters. One, to avoid a smeary or cloudy exterior. Any leftover soap or dirt leaves streaks and cloudiness on the paint after drying. This residue also attracts and holds on to more contaminants and dust as they're floating around the shop and landing on the car, type of thing. Number two is restore surface tension for easier driving. Even trace amounts of soap will lower the water's surface tension, causing the water to cling or stick to the surface instead of beating and rolling off like we're used to. This means if any soap is present, drying will require more of both time and effort. Think of the difference between a coated car, how they had tight beams and it all rolls away really nice and cleanly, and an uncoated one where water's spreading all over and it's sticking to it. You get a very similar effect. It is a very similar effect. You just get even more beating when it's a coated car. But the dirt on the surface or the soap on the surface will clean that water also. You're also more likely to leave water spots as the water on the surface has more contaminants in it to begin with, and it's still collecting dust and such from around the shop. Rinsing is very important. So some of the definitions, this is pretty good, I think. The definitions of pressure washing versus rinsing. We have talked about this before, but this is a great example of it. We want to move around this whole car, switching from pressure washing to rinsing back and forth as you move around it once. Pressure washing is when you use the friction created by the blade of the pressure washer to remove the dirt and the contaminants that are stuck on the surface. Always done from the bottom up to get the most benefit from the pre-soak, whether it's alkaline or acidic pre-soak. You get the most benefit when it can suspend the dirt and soil there, and then you pressure wash from the bottom up. Generally, you do this 3 to 6 inches away. That's one of the big differences in pressure washing, to create enough friction for adequate cleaning. Versus rinsing, when you use both the volume of the water supplied by the pressure washer and gravity to help rinse all the soap and loosen and suspended dirt off the vehicle onto the floor. Always do this in a roof down, a top down type of thing, to ensure complete removal. You're basically pushing the soapy, dirt suspended water off of it with your pressure, but also using the volume of the water to rinse it thoroughly down. That's why you do it from the top down. Generally, you do that from about 12 to 18 inches away versus the 3 to 6 inches away for pressure wash. So the technique and order in this particular step, the technique and order work together for maximum efficiency. When done correctly, you should only have to travel around the vehicle one time. Start by pressure washing the front end intricate items that were just soaked in acidic precip soap. Don't let it dwell too long there. If you remember on step 10, we just ended it right there where we sprayed the acidic pre-soak on the grill, and we have the pressure washer in our hand ready to hit it with the pressure washer so it doesn't sit there and dwell too long. That timing is perfect. It works out good for that. We focus on getting deep into the fins and the intricate items of the grill. There's a good example of the intricate grill that Eldorado and all the little corners and everything like that. Acidic pre-soak helps tremendously in the areas you can't touch. We don't need to focus too much on the undersides of the fins and such. They should be clean enough by now, because if you remember when we did the alkali pre-soak, we were underneath it, making sure we're getting underneath it really good. Generally, it doesn't need too much more than a good blast underneath it, generally. I do. So then pressure wash the drivers as you move around here. We started pressure washing that front end. And then you go to number 2, pressure wash the driver's front wheel and wheel well using the same technique the first time we did that with the alkaline pre-soak. So you have the angles, perpendicular, and the upper angle to do all those. You're pressure washing there. Then you're going to switch back to rinse, and you're going to rinse all the top surfaces, starting at the roof at the corner where it meets the driver's side. So by the corner, we just mean like along in there anywhere. You start by there and start pushing the water off of the roof. So you're rinsing down the other side also, but you mostly get the roof all nice and rinse clean. So then you rinse the driver's side. This is number 4. You just rinse this whole driver's side and you stop when you get to this rear wheel. Then you start pressure washing again from rinsing. Pressure wash the driver's rear wheel and wheel well. Then you go back to rinse the rest of the driver's side and the entire back face. So it's just that little corner in the back by number 5, and you come across and rinse that whole back end, number 6 area there. Then you go back to pressure washing when you are at the passenger rear wheel. And then you're back to rinsing again when you go to the 8 along the side, pressure wash. You usually don't have to do the roof as much there, but definitely spray some on the roof too to make sure the water up there is good and flush free of dirt. So then you pressure wash the passenger. When you are done rinsing on that side, number 8, you're coming along, you stop the front passenger wheel, and then you start pressure washing again, the front passenger wheel and wheel well. Get nice and close, all your angles. Then you're going to, and number 10 is really just getting this corner and the rest of the passenger side and the whole front bumper you just rinse pretty much. That's where we go back and forth between pressure washing and rinsing. It's a good example of that too. And then we have our famous Charlie's video here. If you remember, this was going to start just after step 10 when we sprayed acidic pre-soak onto the front end.
So I think you're going to start off with that last little step there where we do the acid on that front end. Again, this car's pretty clean. Most cars I probably use about twice as much acid up there, really soak it. Not much to do on there. But then I got the pressure washer right in my hand. Again, we're starting with step 11 here, pressure washing the front end. And not too worried about the undersides of the fins as much at this point. Those could have got clean enough when we did our first pressure wash and hand wash. And now I'm just trying to make sure the tops of the fins that are easily visible get clean as well. Keep in there. Now we're starting with our 45 degree up, and we're working up on the wheel well, then a perpendicular working down on the wheel, not wheel well. Just a quick recap here. Again, this is on YouTube there, so you can recap there. Pressure washing 3 to 6 inches away, perpendicular to the surface, bottom up, rinsing 12 to 18 inches away, roof down. Finishing up the wheel well here, I'll do my half on, half off. Going just like that. Now I'm going to start rinsing here, and I'm working my way up to start right at this crest here. So we're going to pour water straight down. Some of the water goes this way, the rest of the water goes that way. So that's where I want to start pushing all of the soap off of the entire roof there. Most of your time rinsing should be spent pushing the soap off the top surfaces. The sides, usually a little bit easier, a little bit quicker. Those are going to be self-rinsing as you do the roof anyway. So after we get the whole roof done, we'll work from this top corner across the windshield there. You can see my pressure washer is hopping onto the hood there. That's so that when I go to rinse my hood, it doesn't splash soap back into the cowl area. Then I'll rinse the hood same way off to the corner like that. Going to rinse the front bumper just to start that process, but we're going to come back to that later. But I like to give the front end a couple rinses because it's got a lot of places to hold soap. Now we're going to rinse the side, the driver's side here. We already got all the top surfaces. Now we're going to rinse the whole driver's side from top down. Got to spend a little bit of time in that mirror, getting all the soap out of there so it doesn't drip soap drips on the door after I get done. Rinsing that rear door. And now I am to this wheel well here. So I'm going to go ahead and pressure wash the wheel, tire, and wheel well. This brace. Perpendicular working down, 45 angle down, working up. Take some dips into the barrel here in between every spoke. Dip. And wheel well. Now my wheel wells are carpeted, so not imperative to acid and pressure wash them, but it doesn't hurt too. So if you have trouble remembering that, go ahead and do it to them all. Finished. I didn't rinse this edge here yet, so I finished rinsing the driver's side as I work my way around the back. Now I'm going to rinse off the whole back here. Pockets, like a wiper knob there, hold a little bit more, so I got to go back and forth, use a little bit more water on there. Rinsing it all top down. So once I get done rinsing that back in there, as I move around to the side here, now I'm at another wheel. So I'm going to do that wheel first. Pressure wash. 45 degrees. Up, working up. working down. 45 degrees down, working up. Dip in the barrel. Now I don't go around and get my tire because I got really flat tires on this guy. Big trucks might need to do that. Wheel well, starting at the back, working towards myself, overlapping, passing as perpendicular as possible as I can get. Ending with a half on and half off, so I know I got all the way up to the edge. Now we got to rinse the passenger side. We already got the driver's side done, we got the roof done, we got the back end done. Rinse the passengers from where that same crest is where we started on the passenger side. Rinsing it down. Roof's already done, so I don't have to do that again. Rinse soap off onto the driver's side. And that meter there, just to make sure there's no soap blasting out there. And now I've made it to my last wheel well here. Look at that pressure washer bend. Ooh, yeah. That's the only way to get that 45 degrees up. Gotta bend that pressure washer. Perpendicular down, 45 down, working up. Dip into the barrel. And then finishing up with the wheel well there. You can see the body position as well. Crouched down there. I'm not bending over like this. So I'm going to be down there for a minute. And then the last thing we do here is we're going to rinse our front bumper. We're going to rinse this really good. I'm going to try to rinse the underside of the fins a little bit. Because that soap will rinse off the top, curl around to the bottom, and it'll hang out there. You need plenty of water. One quick way to do it is give it a good blast with the pressure washer. Maybe going to rinse that long bottom edge of the front bumper there. Now more. There you go. Step 11.
So the cleanup on this part is basically just turn off the pressure washer. You're going to hang up the pressure washer wand. You're just going to holster it. You don't need to roll up the hose yet because you're going to be using it again after you roll forward anyway. Easy to miss areas here are like the wheel well liners and components, especially the plastic ones. It certainly is a good idea to go to the carpet ones. They always need another pressure wash to get rid of the clinging dirt that's in the fabric and everything too. Sometimes either not close enough or not a good angle on the front end intricate items. And then start out by getting underneath it good. Try like a square one like that, try to get it from all angles. So you're getting inside those little pockets, all those little squares. So it just takes a minute to make sure you're pressure washing like that, and make sure you're getting a little bit of friction from the pressure washer on all the sides of the little intricate areas. Sometimes too, excessive movement around the vehicle. That's where we say you really should be able to do this one time around the car, do the rinsing and the pressure washing around the car just once. And that's about all you need to worry about.
Tough order to get to go back and forth so much, but once you get it down, it's quite nice.
It is, it works pretty good. These are all great tips for efficiency. Some are, I don't know, I love the science in some of them, but this is science too, just as you move, and it's all about efficiency and efficient movements, and that's a science.
Awesome. Any questions on that? Things to add? Anything you thought was inaccurate? Needed to change it?
We're doing this for us, and really we're helping the whole industry. Nobody else has this much of a training program going on within their shops or anything like that, so we're really helping the industry too. Not that we're taking this to them yet, we'll say, but we are advancing the industry just by doing these kinds of things so we can get better every day. And we do, we get better every day.
Yeah, the whole thing laid out. I think that's when you really have like just a comprehensive playlist of like, this is how we do it, this is how we do it.
Yeah, I think that'll be quite helpful. We just gotta then the next step is to figure out how to get everybody to use it. So we'll get there.
One thing I want to mention too
Yeah.
is just I really appreciate working with all of you, and we have I don't know, got a nice group that is considerate and smart in what they do, and we all work really hard. It has been really trying all the scheduling changes and everything like that from customers. That is one of them, but also all the different things. Every car that comes in seems like it has something different that we have to figure out. Like, well, this one's like this one's like this. Oh my gosh, this, that, and we get lots of help from people also delving into it and making sure that the end goal is that the customer is not only satisfied with the legend, because that's who's paying all of us, and we're doing a really good job of that together. It isn't easy, but we're all working together at it, and I really appreciate everybody's help. Thank you for being shop manager last Saturday too for us, Aaron.
Very
But
helpful.
everybody has been contributing an awful lot. And I know I was thinking as we were sitting around yesterday getting ready to walk out, and we had almost everybody there. That would have been a good idea to thank people right then, but at the end of the day, I'm so frustrated and so spent from dealing with every single weird person in the car and everything like that. It was like, I don't think of it until later. It's like, I just want to make sure you guys know we appreciate all the hard work everybody puts into this whole business.
Yeah. It ain't easy.
You know?
It was easy, everybody could do it. Awesome. All right, cool. I don't have too much more here for stand-up. I did just want to mention, just talking about the work that we have right now. We are getting closer and closer to winter. We're not super slow yet. But keep in mind as we take time off or whatnot that right now we have the work and soon we will not. January, February, it's going to be pretty light. So just make sure that we're trying to get, it's a seasonal business here in Michigan and we got to do the work while it's here. So just be thinking about that too while we're scheduling out stuff and whatnot. And soon we won't have the option to be able to make a decision on whether or not we can do a cart. It won't be a cart to do. So we want to make sure we get as much done during this season as we possibly can. Right now we're doing great. I think we'll finish out November easily, and I think in December is going to be pretty good too. Probably about mid-December we'll start slowing down a bit, but I'm sure we got to do it while the work's here.
I always say that too. The people want it done. We got to do it whether people want it done because it's going to lighten up. But every year we get more and more busy throughout the whole winter months anyway. So it's sometimes some winters we don't notice it at all.
Yeah.
But we got to get it done when we're here.
Or we get the snow over there. Maybe the last 2 years we didn't have very much snow and we stayed quite busy. Yeah. We said we think it will be a little snow, so that's something to think about.
Good.
Is that it could be slower than
Yeah, you never really know.
Year or two, but
Usually does correlate pretty strongly with the snow flying. It's got to stick. Like this snow we had this weekend usually won't be too effective, but once you have to start plowing driveways, usually people aren't too excited to pay a couple $100 to get the car clean than driving down the loop or driveway.
There's a lot of cars that people want to put away right now.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, we're staying strong. We got a great customer base, that's for sure. They love us because we put so much effort into every vehicle.
Yep.
They're always delighted.
Still up for detailing sales this year, so we are improving. Any other general questions or anything broken? Anything that needs anything in general? All right, well, generally, I think we'll move on here. All right.
Awesome.
Have a
Thank you,
wonderful
everyone.
Wednesday. Tuesday?
Tuesday.
Have a wonderful Tuesday.
I
And
know we're going
Wednesday.
to do a double donut day, but just because everybody's here, but it's like, we got enough.